Today we're going to be talking about the best way to avoid getting punched in the face in a street fight. Most of you guys out there are martial artists, but if you train in the gym and you're always thinking boxing or you're thinking about karate and how you avoid punches, it might not be the same. Well, it's definitely not the same in a street fight. So I'm going to walk you through step by step what we should be looking for and the best way to avoid getting punched in the head. Whether you are brand new to martial arts or you're somebody who has a black belt, this episode is for you. We are talking about how to avoid getting punched in the face in a street fight. It's not as simple as what you might think. If you've done some boxing before, somebody throws a jab cross at you, you're like 1, 2. It's not going to work like that in the street. Today we're going to break down the best method of avoiding punches to your head when you're outside your gym. We have to remember to be very realistic that the atmosphere in a gym, when we're working with people, when we're calm, when people are throwing proper techniques at us, proper punches, this is very different than being out on the street where you're uncomfortable and people are coming at you with weird shots because they don't know how to throw. We need to make sure that we make that disconnect in our head between gym and street fight and how to stay safe. So today I'm going to take you through some steps how to avoid taking that punch to the face in a street fight. If you've already trained in martial arts, everything should be fairly straightforward, and by the time you leave at the end of the episode, everything should be making very good sense to you. If you are brand new and you have not done training before, this will give you lots to work on and lots to think on. The very first thing we're going to talk about is how do you know they are about to throw a punch at you? Very first thing, show me an effective fight style where somebody will punch at you from a parallel stance. It doesn't mean you can't be done, but you're very darn weak and it's not going to have the same amount of power. Similar to when I throw a baseball, I don't throw it like this. I have to step forward and I have to load my hips. Same thing when we punch. Most likely you're going to see them step and put one leg in the back and one leg in the front. Once they've assumed this position, now you know, okay, threats are on the way. From here, in my experience, you might see a double hand shove to the chest. They might pump and hit you and knock you back a little bit, but you're not in a big threat position of getting punched in the head yet. So you look for that first sign. Next, you're going to look and see, has a fist formed? If the fist forms, now you know something's about to go down. And in addition, most people don't know how to punch, so they're going to load up. If they do all three of those steps, 1, 2, 3, now you know the punch is coming. And now we have to go, all right, how do we go about avoiding or blocking or slipping that shot? And I want to take a quick pause to thank the sponsor of this episode, Fume. As many of you guys know, I'm an advocate for eliminating bad habits out of your life. But very often that is difficult, and it is much easier to replace your bad habit with a good habit. Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air, and instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You guys get it? Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you are free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit so much easier. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. There are a number of exciting core packets to keep your Fume exciting, flavorful. You can change it up all the time. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. To get your own Fume, you can head over to tryfume.com/Gabriel Varga, or you can scan that QR code and you can use my promo code Gabriel Varga to save 10%. That's tryfum.com/Gabriel Varga and save an additional 10% today. So what are our options for not getting punched in the face when somebody steps, makes a fist, draws back, and starts swinging? Well, if you've trained in the boxing gym and martial arts, we work a whole lot of options. But in my mind, one is far more superior than the others. We're going to touch on that one last. But first we're going to touch on how we might block a punch, and then I'll explain to you why I don't like this as much. Number one, when somebody goes to throw a big swing at you, you can very simply get your arm up. It could be one arm, it could be two arms, trapping that bicep, shoulder, and down at the wrist. And it could be just more that Russian style where we just go from here or here, wherever we are, and we just get our arm out and in the way. That's the first option. Additionally, we could take our hand and slide it behind our head and make sure that we are blocking anything that comes around as much as possible. If I just do this, like I might with a boxing glove, then you're going to end up most likely eating the punch in some area aside from your hand, because your hand's just not big enough to cover everything. And then there's a whole slew of options which I've seen before where, you know, you block it, you trap it, you take it over top, you hit them in the head, you hit them in the head again, you spin around them, you drop them. It's all so fancy. It's not going to happen unless you've trained that like a million times. And then still, I'm not 100% sure if you're going to pull that off. What we want to look at is getting the head off the center line once we move past the blocks. Head off the center line, or at least rolling under if it's a hook, is going to create problems for most people, because most people on the street are not going to be super accurate. They'll probably even have trouble finding your jaw right there. The punch might come here or there when they load up and swing, but still getting that head to the side or getting it under, anything you do with your head, lean back, all of that is going to help immensely in not taking the shot square on the face. And most of you guys have done this type of training before. You just need to make sure that your legs are involved. You don't want to slip to the side with straight legs, because now when I come to recoil and throw my counter shot, I'm very slow to lift out. When I do a slip with just my back, I'm going to be very, very slow, and my head leans way too far forward. So we make sure we do a combo of a little tip to the side, but also bending my knee and a little rotation through the shoulders, whether I'm rolling under or just dropping to the side. But my third and favorite option is to utilize footwork, because as I already said, most people are not going to be great at finding the target. They will not understand range. So if I see them start to come towards me and I can just step back, especially if I can step back and tip my head, put those two together, it's going to be so hard for somebody to catch you in the head. But just being here going, whoa, whoa, and then just shuffling backwards, that to me is going to be one of the most effective ways to avoid a punch on the street. And that is the option that I have used pretty much every time. Just get back. Usually when people miss once, in my experience, as long as you're calm and you don't come back with your own punches, you can diffuse the situation, which in my mind is perfect, because I've already trained 6 days out of the week at the gym. I don't want to do a 7th and have to utilize more energy. I just want this dealt with, and I want to go home. I want to rest so that I'm ready for my next day at the gym. So I might be standing here not really even understanding what's happening, or I might be ready because this person might have pushed me or something, but I'm most likely going to have my hands here. And I might be in a parallel stance if I'm trying to stay very neutral about it, but most likely I'm going to right away go to here. And I'm going to have my hands up. And then as soon as I see them make that fist, go to that fighting stance, pull back, I'm going to do a quick exit and hopefully make them miss. Now let's talk quickly about what the most common punches are which you're going to see. There's only going to be 4 of them in my mind that you have to worry about. I'm not going to be worried about people throwing the jab. It's very unlikely that somebody's going to come and try and stick a knockout punch, and most people are not going to throw big combos. They're trying to end it in one punch. So what are the shots they're going to use? Uppercuts? No, that's very unlikely. Most of it is going to come off the backhand. We're either going to see a big cross, a big hook, or a big overhand, or potentially off the lead arm, trying to leap in and throw sort of a gazelle style, but it's going to be really sloppy and they're going to try and throw that. So in those moments, when we look at all of them, just doing that little step and a little fade back is going to accomplish pretty much everything you need to stay out of distance and to stay safe. Now your question is probably, well, that's great, Gabriel, but what do I do after I step back, maybe I slip the punch, and this guy's still ramped up. He's still coming at me, and I go, okay, you know what? I can't get out of here. Or maybe I have somebody with me, and I can't just run away. I have to keep them safe. Once I slip, what do? I can't just keep slipping punches or keep stepping backwards all the time. Eventually, I'm going to run out of space. At some point, I might have to do something. What would my go-to be? Well, it would always be initially, hands up, take a step. Now I know they're actually throwing. If they're still sitting here, they're not exiting, they're not walking away after I calmly try to tell them, chill out, Why don't you leave? Now from here, I'm going, okay, I have to finish this fight. And yes, you could wait for them to throw their next punch and then you could slip and counter shot. But I would rather at this point take the initiative because I know with my training, my punch is going to be faster than their punch. Because I have that quick twitch muscle, but also because my shots are going to come directly down the center and they're not going to be wide. Any wide shot is going to be slower than a straight shot. My hands are already open. I make him miss once. I try to talk him, diffuse the situation. I'm going to get right to that range where I know, okay, I'm safe. He can't hit me. But if I need to, I can step back and quickly evade if he rushes with another punch. So slightly at a distance, and then most likely from here, I'm gonna post this hand out, maybe use it as a blinder, so it's right up the middle, and then I'm just gonna push off my back leg and just bang, and come right to the head with the palm fist. Don't wanna go closed fist because I might actually hurt my own hand a lot. So I would first step and evade, then post my hands out, go, whoa, 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 we need to not let this happen any further. And then if I decide, oh shoot, I actually have to do something, then I'm gonna go first. I think this is the best way to avoid getting punched in the face in a street fight as opposed to, okay, I'm gonna slip and counter back. I don't like that as much, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Is my method pretty good? Does this sound solid, smart? Best way to avoid getting hit in the head and potentially throw back if you have to? Would you do things differently? Let me know in those comments below. As always, guys, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.